thank God I caught it before we got 45 an hour in, and we were like, "Hey, yeah, we finished." And no show. Um,
How long did you know, Kenny? We just
I know right now. I don't know if you noticed that I was like typing away trying to figure out what was happening the last like 3 minutes.
okay.
Because
we're on
at
now.
first it was like one of those Twitch chat wasn't coming up for me, and like the Twitch, like on Twitch, it was like, why are we not live on Twitch?
All right,
So
well,
then
we're
I
live
started
now.
checking.
Okay,
All right,
live
cool.
now. All right.
Yeah.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Level With You show. My name is Wiley Olmstead, and this week I am joined by the Phantom producer, Tyler Hadley.
Hey, everybody. Happy Tuesday.
And you know him as the Sub-Zero hero, Kenny Castro.
Hi, guys. How's it going?
It's going good. Now that we are up and recording, we can do episode 91 of the Level With You show. If you could leave us a like or a comment, or even better, a subscribe, we would so appreciate it. If you want to join our Discord, check out the description below on how to do so. If you're watching live, great. If not, you can catch it later on podcast services or VOD. Okay, so this is our second time recording. We had about 20 minutes of great discussions about Valentine's Day and skateboarding, and now we just got to do it all over again. So, anybody want to go first on how their Valentine's Day went?
I'll jump in first. I went last. First go around.
Try to limit the deja vu.
Yes, so definitely Valentine's Day wasn't too bad. Didn't get to spend it just by ourselves, me and Dali. But we had the kids. We love having the kids at the house, so we took them out. Went and had some sushi, some ramen, my favorite ramen in the world. At Aya, South Hadley. If you guys want to sponsor us, just reach out. We'll send you this little clip, 30-second clip, roasted duck ramen, hot and spicy. Go get it, everybody. So we went over there, enjoyed it. Stepdaughter, she liked her food. That was her first time eating there. We brought the little man before. He just doesn't like ramen like that unless it's like the cup ramen soup. Well, he'll grow into it. He'll enjoy the finer things in life as he grows up. He's 8. We can't expect him to be completely bougie. Give him sushi. He's all about it. He'll kill like 3 rolls of sushi. And this year we really decided not to gift anything.
Nice,
because it was one of those things where like. We always go above and beyond for gifts 5 times a year, birthdays, Christmas, Valentine's Day. And she was like, well, we got a trip to Atlanta coming up. Why don't we save some money that we might have spent $300 in gifts and put that towards maybe a special dinner in Atlanta when we go, just me and her.
Nice. I think that's a good thing to do every once in a while. Our gift giving on Valentine's Day is usually pretty minimal. It's like flowers or, I guess chocolates, something simple like that. We're not going to be spending, $50 to $100 on jewelry or something. Maybe every few years or something like that. But how about you, Tyler? What did you get up to, you and Caitlin, you crazy kids?
We didn't do a whole lot. We had a nice breakfast. Made some bacon, eggs, and pancakes. Yep, you knew. It's like you knew. Wow. We hung around the house pretty much. I mean, didn't go anywhere. Your wife made us a wonderful charcuterie spread that we picked up on Friday or Saturday, and we put that together. That was
cheese.
What's that?
I said charcuterie and can't forget the cheese.
Right. Well, I mean, I always just assumed charcuterie included cheese, but I guess charcuterie is just meat. I don't know.
That's my understanding, although Elena will have to get back to us on it.
I don't know. So that was nice. And then we had some surf and turf, some grilled steak, and made some lobster. And the first time making lobster for me at home, which was interesting.
So these are live lobsters.
Yep, live lobsters are like 2 1-pound lobsters we made. And yeah, Caitlin made this like a garlic butter sauce with them, and yeah, it was delicious.
Nice.
I was gonna say before you ask anything, Wiley, we got hot questions coming in the chat. Golden Age Retriever says, "What did you drink with the charcuterie?"
Important. So we did have some red wine. I think it was a Malbec red wine, and then Caitlin actually got me an Allagash bourbon, like a bourbon. I can't remember exactly what it was.
Barrel aged Allagash. Was it Curio?
It might have been. It was really tasty though. It was like a $20 bottle, like 10.4% or something.
Oh, that's even better than Curio. That's I forget, but was it Saint something? Saint. I used to buy that really special bourbon barrel aged when I was a beer buyer a couple years ago. It was super expensive, but worth it.
Yeah, it was delicious. I mean, there's like no like strong kind of like bourbon taste to it or anything, but I mean, it was delicious.
Word. Well, that sounds like fun. We went skiing, which, it was my first time since I was a kid, and I had forgotten essentially all of it. It was like starting from scratch. Um, Elena had the great idea that we would go cross country skiing, and it was relatively affordable, somewhat close by, only 45 minutes. And I wasn't expecting too much challenge. I'm pretty good at sports in general and skateboarding and rollerblading. And I gotta say, this kicked my ass a bit. I wiped out a couple times, couldn't get my skis on a couple times, which was super embarrassing. And there were some moments of like absolute thrill where I was going real fast, felt in control, where I was just going at a good clip through maybe a very slight decline. Like, I don't know about skis, but they don't need much in order to get going. Like, they are made well for that downhill action. And I'm looking
Mhm.
forward to. I didn't even know that cross country skis and downhill skis were different shaped until Sunday when Elena was explaining it to me. That the downhill ones are a little bit wider and make it easier to do turning and stuff like that,
Okay.
and support you a little bit more. I guess the cross country ones are meant to be a little nimbler and lightweight. I don't know. I'm just spitballing there.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm looking for, so I guess you guys didn't know that either.
No,
No,
I had no
I
idea.
definitely didn't know that.
Yeah.
I would have
So-
just assumed that you just throw on the same skis and just on a different hill.
Yeah, you'd think, but no, they are different. But nice place, really friendly people. They really there's when I was leaving, I was like, man, they should have given me some instructions because I was totally freaking clueless. But
Oh, so you didn't even do like a learning lesson? Like you just jumped in, rented skis, and
yeah,
went at it? Oh no. Oh
Yeah.
no, 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 no. I when I did my snowboarding, man, I actually went with like the learning package, like you with the rental and like an hour lesson.
Yeah.
And I got made fun of by an 8-year-old little girl. She was pointing and she was looking at my best friend. She was like, "What's wrong with him? He's like a big baby." And I was like, "I got a cramp.
Yeah.
Get the snowboard off my foot."
It's always the worst when like you're older and you're learning and you have to like get looped in with all like the young kids that are learning at the same time.
Young kids
It's like, man, this is
I definitely
embarrassing.
felt like one of those Adam Sandler movies. Like I'm standing there next to these little kids, and I'm like, "You know how to do this? It doesn't seem that hard." All right.
So a little bit embarrassing, and Elena got a little mad at me about this, but when we were like 97% of the way done, I fell, and I was having such a difficult time getting back up that I was just like, fuck it, just take the skis off, just take them off. I'll just walk the rest of the way, and that's what I did. Just shortly after that, we see this little kid who also falls. He wipes out, and I look back and I say, "Hey, can you get back up?" And he just does it super, super easily. And I'm like seriously just struggling. Like, Elena's trying to pull me up. My skis are crossed. I can literally see the end of it down there. And instead of just like sticking with it for a few minutes, I bitched out. It's like, take the skis off. I'm done. But overall, good experience, and I'm glad that I can say that I've skied now. So, and I think I'm going to try again. I really want to do downhill next time. I'm glad that I didn't go with Golden Age Retriever, we've talked about maybe skiing before, just because I would have embarrassed myself pretty badly. But give me a time or two more, and then we'll go out as a.
I think we need to do the level with you steep trip. Call it the steep trip. We go snowboarding. Bring as I call them, the unofficial fifth member Golden Age Retriever. Bring them along.
Hey,
Yeah.
I'd be down for that. I mean, I would definitely be down to try. I just feel like downhill skiing, like going up to a mountain or somewhere, I feel like most places are always like so expensive. So like, they have to rent gear. And...
If you go on a weekday, Berkshire East is actually pretty affordable. It's like $25.
Yeah, so just take some
probably another 20-25 for the rental.
Well, our good friend Golden Age Retriever says, let's have a downhill skiing day all together. We can record a video for the channel. His brother-in-law can get us cheap tickets where he works. You know what's funny is that it would be hilarious if his brother-in-law is the same guy that had gotten me and my best friend the tickets for cheap. Because that guy also had worked at the place where we went to go snowboarding, which was like snowboarding, skiing, stuff like that. The guy used to work at the skateboard place that used to be in Springfield. I forgot what it was called. Junction in Springfield. It would be extremely hilarious if those are the two same people.
That would be. But yeah, I did forget that he has sort of a hookup, so maybe we should go in that direction. That sounds like a lot of fun. And if now that I've done it once, and the fact that Tyler would probably be a natural at it, and be better.
No, dude. If it's anything like how I was with snowboarding, like I had to go multiple times, and I just like gave it up because I still felt like I wasn't improving at all. But we'll see. I mean, skiing and snowboarding are a bit different.
Speaking of which, how your folks down in Texas doing with this snow?
Oh, they're going a little crazy. They've like all people in my family have lost power. And yeah.
Do they still have heat?
Yeah, some of them do. They have like some of them have like little fireplaces or like electric heaters and things like that they're able to use. I know like my cousin's house, they had to put up a generator in order to like run their things and everything. But yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I'm sure you've heard about like the 100-car pile up in Fort Worth or something like that.
Wow.
That sounds really shitty.
Yeah, I know. We're now joined by the Do Artistic one, Anthony Dewar.
Hey, what's up?
So we were just talking about my skiing and snowboarding over the weekend, and possibly doing it another time with Golden Age Retriever and us all as a gang. Wouldn't that be great?
I think you said you never wanted to do it again.
Well, it's always enticing to do it again when somebody's worse than you. So
yeah,
bring me. I will be
exactly. Me and Anthony will be out there just stinking it up. It doesn't matter how athletic I can be. Anything that's restraining my feet, no.
You think that's bad, Tyler? Remember when we went to roller skate and I couldn't roller skate?
Yeah, that's pretty hilarious.
Yeah. I was walking around the rink and Interstate
like,
has
whoa.
I was like,
Oh man.
First time I ever went skating as a kid, I got infuriated, and I told my mom on the way home, I never even want to hear the word "ska" again.
Ska.
I take it you didn't grow up like it.
Next time I loved it, and then I became a badass on the. I was like one of those kids that was going backwards and winning the relay races, but
nice.
I used to kill it. I used to kill it as a kid in New York with the skates.
Same.
Then never skated again after I was 6, and then I tried to skate again in high school. So then 16, here I am about to roll into Interstate. I'm like, oh, look at that girl. She's kind of cute. Let me go talk to her. About to take one step. Oh, hit the ground. I'm like, get me the fuck out of here.
I can't say why
The shame.
The wind got knocked out of me.
But anyway, we were down talking about the snowstorms down in Texas, and Tyler's got some family down there, so I do hope that they are doing okay. It does. Me and my roommate were kind of humorously imagining, redneck Texans drive in like, ooh.
Yeah, I mean,
What's this darn ship? What's this black ship in?
that's the thing with like being down there is like all of their highways, like people drive so fast on them and just like kind of crazy. I mean, it's a lot faster than like highways around here. Probably mostly because no, I mean, I think they're just like used to it. I mean, people that have been grown up down there, I mean, that's what they're used to. So with like slightly slick roads, I mean, people are still probably trying to drive fast, and then that's causing a bunch of accidents and other nonsense.
Oh yeah, they don't care. They're not. What's because you're not used to it?
Yeah, all right. Well, let's get into the game since we've done 2 opening parts of the show now, Anthony. I guess you don't need to go on that. Let's get into the game.
Wiley, you know how long it takes to wash this? Look at that.
That is majestic right
Your
there.
hair is really long now.
It is long AF right now.
Our very own level would choose Jesus.
Yeah, you just see me on Sunday.
Okay, so I've been playing Little Nightmares 2, and I gotta say, this is pretty good. So this is a sequel to the game that was very similar to Inside, or at least it got a lot of comparisons, fairly so, 2 or 3 years ago, and it got a sequel. Which, when it was announced, I was like, "Huh, didn't expect a sequel for that," but I'll take some more of that. And any of you guys play the original?
I watched them.
Well, you
For a
played
couple
a little
hours.
bit.
Right. We play a little bit together, Tyler. So, geez, maybe it's been like 4 years because that was
Yeah.
back in your dad's basement.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
So it is a side-scrolling game with some light platforming, some puzzle elements, and a lot of trial and error. Luckily, the checkpoints are extremely generous. So when you are experiencing these sort of gotcha deaths, or places where you need to be really precise as far as either your escape routes go, they don't get too frustrating until the one that I just experienced, where it took me like 25 tries. Each try was only about 30 seconds, but it had me. Woo! But anyway, so the games are creepy to an extent, like they're like grim fairy tale type of things, and giant, sort of grotesque looking people / creatures that are trying to capture you and eat you. Like, think like dark Hansel and Gretel type of shit.
They're
And
very big blobby. They look like big slime people.
yeah, and so the first game, it had its moments that were intense and unsettling. It is ratcheted up quite a bit in the second one. There was a couple sections that I would say, this isn't creepy, this is scary. They're mainly when you're in these really tense moments where you're trying to get away, and you've really got to be on your game, because everything is one hit death, and so I'll do just some slight spoilers. So there's this one lady, and I'll just tell you her creepy description. So she starts off, she's a teacher. There's a bunch of these weird kids that are in the classroom, and she's writing up on the chalkboard, and you kind of have to stealth behind her because she'll come over and get you if you don't. But she has the ability to stretch her head, like her neck can just go on forever. So like you're like going through these ducts, and
that's cool.
And you never know. You're just scared that this lady's head is gonna pop in and eat you. And that whole part I was on the edge of my seat. Like, it wasn't frustrating the few times that I had died. I was like, wow, it was just a really good set piece.
Is it really Japanese themed at all? Because the description of that lady reminds me of like a Japanese yokai, which is like a evil ghost spirit thing with just like a girl who's got her, like, she can stretch her neck out super long.
Didn't get the first part. What was there a question?
Yeah, is it like a Japanese themed game?
No, not at all. I think it takes a lot of influences from different places as far as horror goes. Like, there is the dark fairy tale type stuff. I could definitely see what you're describing. It is similar to Inside in the sections where you're running away from somebody that's shooting at you, and you have to stand behind this tree for a second, wait for him to reload, move to the next tree. So visually, the game looks great. I think the game is darker than the first one. Actually, it's definitely is. Like there's more of an emphasis on uh, dark blue and black and gray. The first one, I don't think it had the sort of film grain that this one has as well, which is pretty. It's pretty intense film grain. I was kind of wishing I could turn it down a little bit, but other than the couple of really frustrating sections where I thought you just had to be a little bit too precise. I think that it's really good so far. I think it's going to end up being overall better than the first one. You've got a little companion with you that is helping you solve these puzzles. Sort of a little bit like Luigi's Mansion 3, except for you don't have control over them. They typically do exactly what you want them to, though. So that's kind of nice. You do get separated from her a couple times. When you get back, it's like, oh yay, we're together again. But yeah, I think
I was gonna ask Wiley. Isn't that companion the actual main character of the first one?
I think that was
it might be a spoiler, yeah. But
it is, and it's actually really. I wish you hadn't said that, but you did.
No, I only said it because the demo just puts it out there also as well.
Does it? Okay.
That's the only reason I know, because I played the demo and I have it up on the channel.
Gotcha. Oh, right. Okay. So you do. I think it's about an hour and a half into the game where it reveals that to you, and it's only because she puts on a yellow slicker, which is what the character wears in the first one, and it's just sort of a nice. Ooh, but you didn't see that coming. Music starts playing for a few seconds.
Okay.
So I didn't know. It was a nice surprise for me.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, in the description of the demo, right off rip, when you read it right before playing the demo, it kind of just throws it out there. So that was one of those things. I walked in and I was like, oh, okay, so this is who it is. So I'm guessing when you find this your side character, how far into the game is it? Because I'm trying to gauge how far is into the actual game the demo was, because the demo plays and you find that character maybe within like 15 or 20 minutes.
I think that's about an hour to an hour and a half, and depending on how long it takes you to solve a puzzle, pretty early on. One thing I want to say before I forget is that the first game, as far as I can remember, there were no offensive chances at all. You were always just running away. This game has a couple really satisfying moments. One of them is a total set piece that is not a gameplay mechanic, but it's great. The other is you can pick up wrenches or other sort of blunt objects, and they're very specific to what room you're in. You pick them up by holding R2, and then you press X, and you'll just do a swat, and it's just and you're just blowing up these little dummy kids, these little they're plastic marionette type things that are, I guess, possessed and trying to kill you. But it's very satisfying just to crack their skulls, and you see all their pieces flying everywhere. Not like toys. They look like toys.
Okay.
It sounds more morbid than it is.
I love toys.
But I think it's really good. It's $30. It's on everything, as far as I know. It seems like a good follow-up and an improvement over the first. At least that's my early impressions.
Nice.
It sounds pretty good. So does it openly connect kind of from the ending of the first one? Like, you beat the first one, right?
You did beat the first one, and I don't honestly remember how it ended. Like, it doesn't have the staying power that Inside's ending had, which I'll probably never forget.
Yeah, it's I thought it was pretty good from at least recently watching the ending of Little Nightmares 1. But does it still take place on that weird ship?
No. It has a couple really cinematic moments where you're kind of there's one where you're on a raft and it's very slow, and the camera pulls out and you see this giant foreboding structure where you assume okay, I guess the next game takes place here, and so far it has, even though I think I'm at the building after that. I'm trying to I'm a little lost if there is some sort of narrative. There's no voice acting, at least so far. It's all visual storytelling. Very creepy and unsettling and vague in its sort of mood. It's really going for that,
Yeah.
and we'll see how it ends up. But I'm just there for the atmosphere and the thrill and the visuals, which are really good. Like, so people should check that out. Okay, so why don't we talk a little bit about what Kenny, you want to talk about the Avengers DLC?
Yeah. It won't be too long, especially like that. We could segue into some 13 Sentinels with you guys.
Yeah.
But the Avengers DLC, the Kate Bishop free DLC. So I was sitting there and I was like, okay, let me, the DLC came out. Let me try out this character. I really hadn't looked too much into it, so I was unaware that it was actual like story DLC content as well, not just a free character.
Yeah.
So I jump in it, started it up, and I'm like, wait a second, okay, got some story missions, and they're furthering the story from where I left off. And by the end of it, which was maybe six, I want to say about seven or eight missions, because that towards the end there's one piece where it feels like three missions in one, just kind of sends you through it back to back.
Mm-hmm.
I was pleasantly enjoyed. I enjoyed it. I was surprised that they even did some free DLC content for a game that, when you look at it, didn't hit expectations with purchasing and just how people received it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that they're still supporting it, like they dropped this one, they're dropping the Hawkeye DLC next month with the next gen release of it. So the Series X PS5 version drops the same day as the Hawkeye DLC.
Okay, and is that one going to be free as well?
So they have the smart delivery. So that should be, and yeah, the Hawkeye one will also be free as well. So my understanding is all their DLC characters are free. There's not going to be any paid content.
So
I think
season passes must be coming.
So
Yeah.
the paid content is the character battle passes. So if you want to unlock special costumes for the characters that are only in their character battle pass, that's the paid content, right? You buy
And you can't even change that in game, right?
Yep, you buy the microtransaction there. But so far I enjoyed it. I was like, okay, I'm now looking forward to the next piece of the story and where it's building towards, and it looks interesting. I did enjoy my time wielding and playing as Kate Bishop. It was a nice refresher from the last two characters I was really focusing on, which was Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, and Thor. So what's
her special power? I don't know this character very well.
Kate Bishop?
Yeah.
So she's the partner and protege of Hawkeye. So she really, between the sword and her arrows, that's kind of her stuff. But in this, it kind of gives you an explanation that she goes in and steals all these special equipment from AIM, and now some of it provides her the ability to teleport right from one spot to another. So it's not like she has this supernatural ability, but they're able to explain like, oh, well, I got this neat trick I could do because I stole this tech from the bad guys.
Okay. So she's got a little bit of Hawkeye, a little bit of Batman, a little bit of I don't know.
A little mix of I would say some Nightcrawler with the teleporting. Some of the Hawkeye in there.
Remember that great scene from one of those X-Men movies with Nightcrawler, where he was like teleporting all around the room and stopping a bullet or something? I can't remember, but I just thought of that, and
yeah, Nightcrawler's teleporting has always been dope. So I can't wait to see the X-Men being involved in more Marvel games now that they have full property ownership, right? So yeah, so she's pretty good for for a range character. Like you would mostly focus on range because of her arrows, and you have three options with the arrows, but you can get real nitty and gritty with her sword as well if you need to. They do. It's been a while since I played the game, the base game, right? So I want to go on a limb and say that the last boss in this free DLC was a new boss. it could have just been that I haven't played it in so long that I fought this boss in the base campaign and I don't remember it, but it was a super adaptoid. It After I beat it, it updated in my codex, so I'm guessing I didn't fight him, right? So I'm gonna sit on that like that, and it was pretty interesting to fight because it was like this boss that got sent from the future, and he kind of came with like the move set and kind of just adapted abilities of Thor, Captain America, Iron Man, all in one. So he was with a makeshift hammer, a makeshift shield, tossing those things around, and also shooting missiles out of his chest and the beams that Iron Man would normally do. It was a fight that actually, I don't think most boss fights in this game actually had me die once. This one really did. I think I got it on the third try. I was playing as Kate Bishop as well, so it's not like I was playing as the overpowered Kamala Khan, who I have pretty high up, and I just smash things around with her. So I was playing as Kate, and it was a little struggle, trying to play a range fight with this guy because getting up close and personal was gonna wreck me and get me torched by this enemy. But definitely looking forward to the story DLC for Clint, which is Hawkeye, which is the next one coming up in March. Because from the trailers and what I see, it looks interesting. And the next boss is Maestro, who is supposed to be like a former Hulk. He got the nice little white beard to him, white hair.
Huh. I thought you were Hulk for life. Didn't know you could exit that club.
Well, he still looks like the Hulk, but maybe a different persona. Maybe
a
he
lot
doesn't
going
go by
on
the Hulk.
in those.
It's not like Abomination.
Almost like the Abomination, but he definitely looks less Abomination, which is more red, and more Hulk, more green. And of course they keep teasing the Kree invasion in this game. So there's a lot going on, and I feel like they have a lot to build on if they keep introducing characters and keep pushing it. And it looks like we'll get Nick Fury, which would be interesting if the next character after Hawkeye is Nick Fury, and how they'll go with that.
Only power is his eye patch.
Yeah, and well, we got Black Widow in there, and she really doesn't have powers like that. So it'll be interesting to see how they make Nick Fury a playable character if they do.
So I've been hearing a lot more about that game the past few weeks than I feel like I did the few weeks before that, and I don't know if that's because I think it might just be a coincidence. I've just heard it mentioned on the Min Max show, which is another gaming podcast I listen to sometimes. The Bombcast, I believe. So I don't know. Maybe this game will have a turnaround as far as player base goes, and we can, I don't know, it'll be a success story. I know I'm still holding off on playing it. Maybe once I get the next gen version, and if it comes to Game Pass, or we'll see. I imagine I'll be playing it someday. So Tyler, we are pretty deep into this game called 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim, and it's a hell of a thing. Why don't you tell the folks at home what exactly it is?
Man, this game is awesome. The storytelling in the game is so well done, but it's also at the same time kind of just like a mind fuck. And like it's like, so you play through this game starting off by you're going through these characters like prologues. So like each character that you play, there's 13 of characters total, hence the name 13 Sentinels. You start off the game only being able to play as like 4 of them, I think. And so each character has their own storyline, and they're all based on kind of like, they're all like high school aged people, and you're going through kind of like their daily activities and their prologues, but shortly after you find out that they have something to do with these Sentinels, the giant mech robots.
They're there to save the world.
Yeah, they're there to save the world, but you don't really know like why like they're able to pilot the Sentinels, or like like just like mysteries just start to like unfold like shortly after the initial prologue.
Mm-hmm.
So you have like the prologue where you're playing as some of the characters, and then in between each character, I think you're put into like the battle mode, and the battle mode is kind of like a real-time strategy based type of game, right?
Like a
Where
tower defense type thing, and I think it's actually, is it real time? It's sort of a combination of real time and
yeah,
turn-based.
yeah, I guess it is kind of a combination of real-time and turn-based. So like every time that you're going, each character that has like their action, the clock stops and the enemies stop. So I guess it's not real time. So once you select an action for that character, then the clock starts again. And then there's always a cooldown for each character depending on what kind of move they use until they can use another action.
And this is when you're. Can I jump in for a second?
Yeah, definitely.
And this is when you're controlling the Sentinels. So I think one of the neat things, especially from a story perspective, early on, is that when you're leaving, you're playing as a high schooler, and you're kind of sort semi-persona type vibes when you're just sort of walking around talking to people, talking to your silly friend, geeking out about science fiction movies, and I think that's a really, the game is very, it relishes in its love for sci-fi and kaiju and the 80s and VHS tapes and just lots of stuff like that. I think that's really well done. But
It's only a fraction of it, man.
Yeah, well, I'm sure. I know you're probably a lot farther than I am. I'm only 6-7 hours in. You're 25?
Yeah, probably. I've unlocked all the characters. I pretty much almost completed everybody's stories except for 2 because I need to progress the battle stages even further in order to continue to progress like these last 2 character stories.
That's what threw me off was the battle, like just the aesthetic. It seemed very bland, very like there wasn't a lot. There's a lot going on, but there's also like not a lot of visual stimulation, so to speak, compared to like the overworld, like walking around, interacting with people.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think the stories are a lot more engaging and intriguing to me. The battles, so currently I'm at like an area 3 of battles, and like each area has 10 waves. The first 10 waves of area 1, I thought was pretty trivial. There wasn't really much of a challenge, but they definitely do ramp up in terms of difficulty, because they continue to introduce like new daimos and new enemies that you have to combat in different ways. Because once you start to be able to actually get into those waves, each character has a different generation of Sentinel. So like generation 1 is focused on like melee attacks. They're kind of like slower moving like melee Sentinels. Generation 2 focuses on like support units, like putting up sentry turrets and healing and shields and things like that. Generation 3 Sentinels are long range, so they do like long range missiles and like giant barrage like types of attacks. And then
So are these like things you're customizing? Because where I'm at, all the fighting so far has been pretty easy. Like I haven't had to restart any battles. There's been, I think 50% is how low one of my things that, mission failure if you die type things.
Have you even gotten to the point where you can like select like who you're bringing into the battles?
No.
Yeah, so yeah, you haven't even like scratched the surface really.
Yeah, okay. But what the point I didn't quite get to before was that when you're playing as a high schooler, you are having these dreams where you're piloting these mechs, and you are starting to kind of have that realization with other people, like, oh, it's happening to you too. And the dreams feel really real. You don't really know if it's actually another dimension or what. But I thought that was a nice way to I don't know, intrigue the player, find out what's really going on. The game, we haven't even mentioned that it's a time travel game or whatever it is, but
Or is it?
Or is it? Yes.
Ooh.
1945, 1985, 2024, 2045. I think those are the main years that I've seen so far. But
Yep. That you've seen.
I hear so much great things about the story, and I'm definitely intrigued. It's something that, the main point of the main aspect of the game, it's a little bit tedious, like you're just really talking to people. So I am not wanting to play it for long periods of time. Kind of like want to get to a couple good story beats and then say, okay, I'd read from my chapter for the night type of thing. But it seems like it's really got its hooks in you.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I've been going into it kind of as like, this is another one of my animes, and I'm just like playing the game and like progressing the story to figure out and learn more about it. Because yeah, it is so much. It makes you think like it is one thing, and then it kind of like throws you for a loop by like okay, now I go to the other character, and then they find something out that one of the last character I was playing like didn't know anything about, and now I'm like, oh crap, like now it's going in a whole other direction now that I know what this character knows, kind of deal.
Sounds pretty good. I like that story flow.
It's a very, very ambitious story, that's for sure. I can tell that even early on. Okay, so Anthony, you came in a little late. Anything you want to chat about as far as video games go?
I was hanging with my buddy Stu this past weekend, old friend from college, and he introduced me to this nice little, quaint little Steam game called Luck Be a Landlord. So we actually recorded a couple episodes of that I plan to actually get up in the next couple days. So take a look for that. And the best way I can describe it, I'm not going to go into detail here because there's a better explanation I feel that Stu provides in the video. It's a roguelike slot machine game.
I just Googled it. I'm seeing some pictures. Seems interesting.
It's very simple, but it's very fun, especially if you're playing with somebody else. It's a lot of fun.
I love the name.
Yep, and it's still in early access too, so I would highly recommend it. There's a free demo on Steam. You can buy it. Actually, I liked it so much, I just bought the $10 game.
Nice.
Nice.
And it keeps going. You get like, I think once you hit like an endless mode, basically you have to spin. You add little icons to your slot machine. You have to have, the goal is to have a certain amount of gold coins by a certain amount of spins, and then if you hit that, you go on. Progresses up and up, and then you basically hit like an endless mode at the end where you can just keep spinning.
Okay. Speaking of endless, I'll mention something real quick. I played a bit of. Anybody here ever hear of Downwell?
Did you? You've had that for a while, I think. That's the one with the gun.
For a while, I have. I think maybe I mentioned it once before, but I was just trying to play something on my Switch that wasn't Grindstone the other night, and I got a few levels in. This game is so difficult. It's a black and white, like minimalist 8-bit or even like 4-bit game where you're just falling down a well. You just want to keep on falling and bouncing on enemies, and it's super super fast paced. You get power ups as you go. Pretty addicting. It's extremely challenging. I don't think I'll ever beat it, but it's a good like play for 10-15 minutes type of game. And another Switch game I picked up, and yes, it was because it is going into the vault soon, and I couldn't bear to not have these 3 games, is the Super Mario 3D All-Stars. So I beat Bowser for the first time last night. That was my, hour-long play session. Got the first 8 or 10 stars maybe. And
Sorry,
man,
64.
In 64, yeah. So holds up so well. It's just it blows my mind to what people were thinking when this game came out in '96.
Mhm.
Like now being so much more knowledgeable about the history of games than I was back then. Like I came to 64 a few years late. I think I didn't play it until 99 or 2000. I was a stony PlayStation kid, and it's just Mario's so nimble. The level design is good. It throws so many things at you right off the bat. Like you can surf on Koopa Shell. You can get shot out of a cannon. You can fly. You can slide down the ice, and that's all within the first 10.
Bob on Battlefield, I think, is probably one of the best opening levels in any video game, especially a Mario game, just to throw you right in and be like, hey, you can do this, 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 this.
Yeah, super impressive. Like playing it with my new perspective has been really neat so far. So I've never beaten 64. I've beaten all the Galaxy and Sunshine, but I've never beat 64. So hopefully I'll be able to do that. Okay. Anybody else got any games they want to talk about before we move on to our topics of the show?
No, sir.
Twice.
Yeah, I've just been drawing boobs.
Okay, so moving on to the Nintendo Direct that we're getting tomorrow. Now, this is a last-minute addition that I threw into the outline, and if people aren't 100% prepared, you are forgiven. But it's been nearly a year since the last one, and I thought it would be fun to make some predictions on what we think will be there. They say it's going to be 50 minutes, and that's pretty substantial. That's an E3
That's a lot of games.
Yeah,
That's a big one. They got to catch up.
So, who wants to start with a prediction? Just throw one out there. Go ahead, Kenny.
Smash character.
Well, yeah, we're definitely gonna get the Smash character. They said they're gonna show off. They're gonna touch upon Super Smash Brothers, so we know that. We know at least that vague notion. But I am coming out that it's gonna be very heavy, direct all around like celebration of Legend of Zelda.
Ooh, okay. So
like almost like a 35th anniversary. They did the Mario. They did all this. Now they're gonna head in and be like, well, now let's celebrate the Legend of Zelda, another storied franchise, and then that'll lead into your guess as well, because I have that as part of one of mine. So I won't take it as my guess, but that's your guess. I'll let you say it.
Breath of the Wild 2 release date and a name, which won't be Breath of the Wild 2. It will be
Breath of the Wild, Link's Breathening.
Breath of the Darkness.
Or maybe Darkness Breath of the Dark Wild. Maybe Dark Wilds.
Maybe.
I think we might maybe a new Mario Kart.
New Mario Kart, that'd be big. It's been a long time since we had a new one. Unless you count the circuit one that did come out last year. But yeah, that'd be neat. Mario Kart 9. Breath of the Wild 2, yeah, release date. That was my first one. Hit us with one, Anthony. What are we gonna see?
I could see possibly it would be really cool if it's probably more of like a hope than a guess, but is a Skyward Sword remake for Switch. If they're gonna be doing a Zelda.
Would be interesting. Now Kenny's 35th anniversary for Zelda. That's super funny because the original Super Mario Bros. 1985, Legend of Zelda 1986. When they were like pitching that Mario thing, they were like, and then we do it all again next year.
Hey, it's more money for them, and they know how big a franchise Zelda is, so it wouldn't surprise me.
I think that I would be surprised if Kenny was wrong there. So what type of Zelda things could they do besides a Skyward Sword? Did you say a remake or remaster?
Oh, like a remaster, probably like port to Switch.
I can go hop on the bandwagon with Golden Age Retriever, who is saying like a collection, just like they did the Mario 3D All Stars.
Kind of like the Master Quest disc that they got you.
Yeah, hit up with a time, exclusivity, like, for the next 6 months it'll be available for purchase, and then gone.
Yep. And what games are going to be in that collection?
Of course, I'm gonna say A Link to the Past, Majora's Mask, and
I have Ocarina if you got Majora.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Well,
you gotta have Ocarina if you have Majora.
Ocarina.
Haven't there been some leaks of like a remade game of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask?
Yeah, there has been leaked reports that supposedly they've been working on like remakes to both of those. Yes,
that would be nuts. That would be megaton.
Golden Age says his guess is Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, and Wind Waker as a bundle, which kind of almost coincides, almost like the Mario 3D All Stars.
Mm-hmm.
Like
generation.
Yep.
I think people are sort of hungry for the Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword, and I'm imagining that, but I mean we got Wind Waker HD already. Oh, but not for Switch.
HD.
Not for Switch.
I could see that maybe bringing some of those like multiplayer Zelda games, like the Minish Cap or something like that. What else was like the multiplayer? Four Swords.
Yeah. That'd be I mean, I'm sure it's good in its own right. I was never into that. I still have an unopened copy of Triforce Heroes for the 3DS.
Okay.
I was gonna say, so in coinciding with this whole 35th anniversary Zelda and everything, right? And I think with how well received this Age of Calamity was, my guess, right, is that also we're one of the Smash character we will see is one of the champions from Age of Calamity.
I like
Barbosa right now.
Who would it be?
That right there, I don't know, because from what I heard, they fleshed out the champions in Age of Calamity pretty well. They can't have them all, right?
It's got to be the big guy.
Or maybe they just don't know they can't because they all fight differently. I was gonna say skins, but
so we got chat says Urbosa. Anthony, you said Urbosa as well, right? So that's where I'm floating to, because of course we get the regular, same characters from Legend of Zelda, but why not throw a little spin and add one of the champions from Age of Calamity, build the hype, especially if these characters gonna be, focal points and then in part 2. So I think that's how they'll go.
Is Urbosa like that magic user?
She's the Gerudo lady, the big tall buff chick with the
okay, gotcha.
The thunder.
He is Gerudo. So that's a good Smash prediction. I think that since we're getting Crash 4 on the Switch, I would not be surprised. One of the most requested characters in Smash history, Crash Bandicoot. So I'll go ahead and throw that one out there. I think it's
I would not be unhappy with him either.
Yes, that would be a crowd. That would actually be the crowd pleaser.
Yeah, I'm actually very glad they got Steve out of the way a second.
Yeah.
You think that this would be a letdown if you were the one announced tomorrow?
Oh yeah, if Steve was like the second to last or last announcement, I think that'd just be like a.
Is this supposed to be the last of Fighter Pass 2?
I think we have one more after this.
Yeah, one more after this, and I believe if anything, we also hear about Fighter Pass 3 right here.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Like that. Why stop? Why stop?
Exactly. I'm pretty sure we'll get it. But Fighter Pass 3.
Okay, so what do we think about the option or the possibility of Nintendo expanding its online selection of games and maybe throwing in some Nintendo 64 games?
That would be awesome. I'd love that, or Game Boy Advance, or Game Boy Color even.
Yeah, that would be pretty sweet.
I'm a go on the side of the Game Boy Color coming in before the 64.
Yeah.
The Game Boy Color. Okay, interesting.
Maybe they'll drop Game Boy Color and Advance.
So why don't we talk about classics? The SNES Classic, the NES Classics, both huge successes. There's been a lot of scuttlebutt about the possibility of a Game Boy Classic or an N64 Classic. That would be the next in the chronological sense. I heard an interesting prediction on another podcast about Wii Classic. It's coming. There's people want to play Wii Sports.
Wii Classic. It'll probably have Wii Sports, Wii Music.
I could see all of that, honestly. Like you said, chronological order. I say they go. Definitely, it looks like they'll maybe. Who knows? Maybe we get the announcement that holiday season you'll be able to pick up the N64 Classic, but coming to the online service, you'll start receiving Game Boy Color games. Because I feel like they won't go out of their way to make a Game Boy Color Classic, right, or Game Boy Advance Classic, but they're definitely not gonna ruin the money train that dropping the N64 games on the online service would take away from dropping the N64 Classic first before doing that.
Yeah,
because first you hit them with the Classic, right, physical.
Yep.
And let them pick that up, buy it up, and then 6 months down the line when they're not available, then you could just drop it on the online services. So I would assume we don't see N64 on the online service until, what is it, summer 2022? spring end of spring 2022.
Precise prediction. But I think it's a good one. I don't. That's a good point. I personally, on what I would like to see, I think a Game Boy Classic would be really cool. Like just make it like the Game Boy Color and load it up with 40 games or so. I think the name Game Boy is something people have so much, it makes sense why they moved away from it, but people would be like, oh, hell yeah, did you get the new Game Boy? Like,
what would it be? Would it still just be a handheld, or would you be able to plug it into your TV?
Well,
I would assume it's a handheld. I would assume.
I don't know. I feel like that's. I don't know. I think that's kind of a waste.
You don't think that people would pay $80 for a Game Boy Color that came with Pokemon Red and Blue and Donkey Kong?
I'd say
you drop it like that. I'd say they do it right, and then for 80, 90, I'd say they even go as far as making it 100 with the dock. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
They could do like Game Boy, the Super Game Boy kind of deal.
Yeah. You'd be able to dock it, and just call it a day if you want to play on your TV. These, not meant for TV, games, but
exactly, yeah. That's why I don't think they would go that route. But if they could pull it off, I think that they'd want to keep it strictly handheld and keep costs down. And
definitely.
They came out with that Game & Watch stupid thing. Like people,
I was gonna say it's
yeah.
I definitely say I could see that one happening as the maybe they're like, oh, look forward to the summer Game Boy Classic, summertime, people are gonna be traveling, people are gonna be moving out and about. Hopefully the pandemic's a little more under control, so you're not at home. Drop a Game Boy Classic, you could play your classics on a camping trip, all this other stuff,
Exactly. Do we think there's any possibility for a new iteration of the Switch? I know there's been for years we've been hearing about Switch Max, Switch Pro.
Not yet. I don't think so.
I agree. I think that Switch is just still doing gangbusters. There's all the production issues all over the world for all types of stuff. Sony's, God forbid, saying that it's still going to be hard to get a PS5 next holiday season. So I don't think that. I think they're just, why? What's the point? Like maybe before the pandemic, they were like, we got to do something. But then Animal Crossing came out and sold 20 million copies, and they're like, maybe we're good. So I also think this will finally be the day where we get a Hollow Knight Silksong release date. Fingers crossed. And the Golden Age Retrievers right there with me.
He did mention it right before he went off to dinner. He said final prediction is the night in Smash Silksong release. That's his final prediction for tomorrow.
Smash would be dope.
Although, I know it's been so long since we heard anything about Silksong.
Seriously. Well, anybody got any predictions before we move on to our next topic?
I don't think so. I know we've been. Are we gonna have time for a full another topic?
No, it's gonna be a quick one, man. It's just I want us all to just, since we had Valentine's Day, we'll name a game that we think would be a good recommendation to play with your significant other who maybe they're great at video games, maybe they're not. Something that's good for you to, I don't know.
Ooh, I got one.
Go ahead.
Genital jousting.
Yes.
Great game.
Nice.
Great game.
Solid game.
Genital jousting. You guys, does anybody actually own that game?
I do.
Do you?
Yeah.
I gotta buy it too. I want to play it again real bad.
I think it's like $5 on Steam or something.
It's so much fun, especially as a drinking game. That's a great night in with the significant other.
Okay.
And maybe get you a little
get you the mood.
Yeah, like, hey baby, you like all these shapes going into other shapes? Don't touch the needles.
Sequel, Booby Battles.
Oh god, don't get me started. I love
that. Well, the first one that comes to mind for me is Tetris Effect Connected. I think that Tetris is a pretty universal game. Just about anybody knows how to play it. It's got these beautiful colors and wonderful soundtrack. You can either be competitive or cooperative. It's on Game Pass. It's a really good game. if you're looking for somebody that, like my wife, is not very into video games, maybe your partner isn't either, and you have an Xbox, you want to bring them into the world a little bit, I'd recommend Tetris Effect Connected. Anything from you, Kenny? What's your go-to? Does Medalis ever
Game.
Yeah.
So if and when the very small occasion we game together, it is Dynasty Warriors or anything
Ooh.
Mushu. Anything Mushu. She loves
Awesome.
she loves those kinds of games. So we've tried our hand at, I think, Dynasty Warriors 7. We tried our hand at the Warriors Orochi together. I
That's
did
awesome.
want to try our hand together at the Hyrule Warriors, the first one. I got it on the Switch, so when we do get around, it'll be that, or she'll play by herself. So an RPG. So if we're gonna play together, it'll be that.
Oh, okay, interesting. There is that one RPG that's also on Game Pass that I heard some good things about. That is literally like a romantic story.
Haven.
Haven. Okay, so
I,
maybe
I
that's another
started
one.
that. I started that, and I would check it out with Elena. It's extremely non-complicated. It's pretty nice, relaxing. The visuals are amazing, and nice little relaxing music. So I check it out. I'm playing it by myself, but as
Does it
from what
feel? Is it still a good game solo?
it is so far, it is because you get to kind of just see this relationship as it's unfolding in front of you. So it's definitely interesting from that aspect of the story, but definitely could see you just as a relaxing game, nothing too competitive, nothing crazy. If you guys just want to kick back and have some cheese, some wine, and play some Haven, I think that'll be nice.
Nice. I'm literally getting a little grumbly right now, and was thinking of cheese right as you said cheese. Like six different kinds, I'm afraid.
Nice.
All right, and what about you, Tyler? Send us off.
I would recommend Spirit Fair. I thought that was a really good co-op experience with Caitlin. Being able to kind of send off these spirits and do all these like little tasks and things like on your boat. Really kind of like got like the teamwork and cooperativeness to really work together, because we were like, all right, well, you're going to be focusing on like making things, and I'm just gonna go around and harvest food or whatever. And
And that's the one where you or player 1 plays as Stella, and player 2 is the little kitty cat.
Yep, exactly.
That's super cute.
Yeah, it works out pretty good.
All right, so that has been episode 91. It's in the books of the Level With You show. Thank you so much for watching or listening. Make sure to leave a comment, subscribe, like, leave us a detailed 500-word review on iTunes.
Please.
And we will be back next Tuesday at around 5:30-ish. Until then, it's been our pleasure. Stay level.
Bye.